Hi, Emily. Okay, so we've got the AP external shoulder, 10 by 12 crosswise at the upright bucky. We're shielding our patient. We're at a 40-inch SID. We've got a left marker on the lateral side of her shoulder. We're centered where? 1 inch inferior to the coracoid process at the scapulohumeral joint space, okay? And we've got our tube and bucky lined up. We have her epicondyles parallel to the IR. Her arm is slightly abducted. And what are her breathing instructions, class? Suspend, okay? We don't want them breathing through this. Go to the AP internal. We've already discussed that the centering and everything else about this exam is exactly the same as the AP external exam. So all we're going to do is keep her arm abducted slightly and then internally rotate, pronate her hand, and keep going until her epicondyles are perpendicular to the IR. And Emily can go right there, and that's good. Okay. With that movement, Emily's kind of adjusted her shoulder a little bit. It's come forward. So if she can stand up a little bit taller so her shoulder's closer, or go ahead and back down for me. There you go. We can rotate her towards the affected side just a little bit to make sure that we get that shoulder closer to the IR. She's adjusting her height just a little bit to compensate, which is fine, but we need to make sure that we adjust our centering. We're going to come up just a little bit. So we're centered on that scapulohumeral joint space. Line up our tube and bucky. She's still shielded. Epicondyles are perpendicular. I'm going to have you look up and away. There you go. What are her breathing instructions? Suspend. So hold your breath. Hold still. Exposure. Okay. Now we're moving on to the grashey. 10 by 12, crosswise, 40-inch SID. Shielding. We've got a grid in the upright bucky. Left marker still on this lateral side. So what we need to do is center at this scapulohumeral joint space, which we've already discussed is from this lateral border of the shoulder, 2 inches inferior and 2 inches medial. So I'm going to actually scoot you over towards me just a little bit, Emily, so I can see my crosshairs better. So crosshairs are here. We need to come down just a little bit to be 2 inches. 2 inches for me is right about all 4 fingers. And then 2 inches medial. So I'm going to actually scoot you over just a tiny bit. There you go, towards me. You're good. All right. I moved my tube, so I'm going to line up my bucky. Now we need to rotate the patient, okay? My little trick that I was talking about in class, put your thumb on their scapulohumeral joint. It'll feel like a tight rubber band. Rotate their body, not their whole arm, just their body, 35 to 45 degrees. You'll feel this kind of sink in a little bit if you're pushing just a tiny bit, okay? Once you feel that kind of soften up, check their shoulder blade, check their scapula. Come away from it. Okay, so we're rotating until the scapula is parallel to the IR, and that is where we need to be right here. Okay, abduct the arm just a little bit. She can be a neutral rotation, okay? So no internal, external rotation is needed here. We are centered on that joint space. Tube and bucky are lined up. Collimate down. Okay. We've got light above her shoulder, light on this lateral portion. We're including 2/3 of her clavicle. Okay. What are her breathing instructions here? Suspend again. So just go ahead and hold your breath. Exposure.